From the dark part of YouTube, where you frantically click away from when somebody else enters the room, it is the Zankoku Tenshi Show, the show whose production values make local access television shows look like Star Wars. And now, here is your host, the absolute bottom of the YouTube barrel, Zankoku Tenshi.
Hello, everybody on the internet, and welcome to the Zankoku Tenshi Show, starring me, the horrible Zankoku Tenshi. Hello, everybody who has joined the stream. This is my show, and I get to talk about crap. I actually have a list of stuff to talk about. But I will also take any questions that come along the wonderful chat stream. So if anyone's got any questions, go ahead, and I'll try to answer them as long as they're appropriate. But on my list of topics, I was going to talk about the movie Get Out, and I was going to also talk about cannibal movies, because I like cannibal movies, and there seems to be just a lack of cannibal movies nowadays. And then I was going to talk about, I came up with a list of my top 10. Can I touch your beard? You can do it through the internet. You know, just go ahead and grab that right there. But I came up with my top 10 for now anyways, movies, not just horror movies, but of all time. I had a chance to think about it because someone from my first stream asked me about it, so I gave it some contemplation. So I'm going to talk about that, and of course, like I said, any of you guys' questions and stuff like that. Looking here, my background scroll is from my trip to Japan. Actually, there's a couple trips to Japan in there, but most of them was from my first trip with a bunch of friends from college. So I was like super young. So that's in the background. I don't know if you guys like the slideshow stuff going on, if that just distracts you, but I want you to be distracted from my ugly mug. So anyways, if you have any questions about these images, I can talk to you about them anyways. So let's get into it. So first thing off, Get Out. I watched this movie several weeks ago, and it's a very good movie. If you don't know what it's about a black man who is dating a white woman, and she is taking him on a trip to her parents' home out in the middle of nowhere, and it's all kind of weird and stuff. It's a horror movie. Things don't seem right. There's things about hypnotism, and the black people he meets there don't seem quite right. And it's a very interesting, fun horror movie. And oh no, it's like, oh, there's me. How young was I playing the Koto? Holy crap, I was young as hell back then. No beard. Oh my god. Anyways, so Get Out. Oh man. So I watched the movie and I thought it was pretty good, but man, like the reviews were all basically super positive, 100%, whatever. The Metacritic score is like in the 90s, and I'm like going like, yeah, it's a good movie, but I don't think it's like that great of a movie. I mean, it's not the best horror movie, and definitely not one of the best movies of the year. It's a pretty good movie. It's a solid movie. It's entertaining. If you haven't watched it, I suggest you watch it. Yeah, but you know, the 90s? I don't think so. And it kind of reminded me of a couple years ago, another movie that was kind of like that. And that was Fury Road, Mad Max Fury Road. That one had high 90s score. People were talking about Oscar contention, things like that. Which one? Get Out or Skinny Gamer? You haven't watched Get Out or Mad Max Fury Road? I'm not that fussed about spoilers. Oh, okay. There. That's cool. That's cool. I mean, I don't really need to. Okay, so for Get Out, I don't really need to talk about the spoilers of that. I mean, it's got a great twist, and it actually creates some interesting questions because it's the stuff that goes on. Really, you know, you're like going, wow, this is interesting, and the kind of hook. But it also opens up an interesting question, which is kind of a spoiler. But it kind of involves like body snatching in that sort of way. Anyways, but going back to Mad Max, there's a movie which I enjoyed Mad Max. I liked the movie, but it had zero plot. I mean, literally, it's like, hey, we'll turn left, and we're going to go to this place that's supposed to be paradise, and it's not paradise, so now we'll turn around. I mean, that's your plot. Basically, I mean, oh gee, oops, I didn't know that picture was in there. Shit. Anyways, oh god, that one's super dark. I tried to take a picture inside the world's largest wooden building, but it was super dark in there. So, anyways, moving on from there. So Mad Max, you know, people are talking about Oscars, and like, no, like the action was great. I liked the action, but the problem is it wasn't action all the time. And when there was no action, when they were trying to do story, it was really just it didn't work. You know, you kind of got bored, and you're like, no, let's get back to the action. Let's get back to the chasing. Let's get back to the fighting. And so it's a similar situation. It's like where you've got two movies that are like, you know, highly rated, and you just don't see it. So it's really kind of strange. But both of those movies, Get Out and Mad Max, are good movies. There was me with my host family there in Hikone. Really great family. They bought me a bottle of whiskey. They asked me what was my favorite alcohol, and I go, whiskey. It's now vodka now, but back then it was whiskey. But and so they bought me a bottle of Jack Daniels. It was awkward because it's like they expected me to like just drink the whole thing or something. I don't know. Oh man, it's a great drinking society, Japan, man. It's like when you go to Japan and you meet a bunch of Japanese people, they play the game, get the gaijin drunk, man. Get the gaijin drunk, and they win. They always win. They always win, and in a way, I win too when I play that game. But anyways, so. That was some fun stuff. So I don't know, Skinny Gamer, have you seen Mad Max? Fury Road? I'm just curious what you thought about that one, because, like I said, it had great action, it looked nice, but I think the characters were really flat, and the story was just kind of like the whole like forced love thing between like the one white boy, whatever, I can't even remember his character's name, and one of the prisoner wenches really just I don't know, just really didn't do it for me. It felt like really just unnatural. It's like, yeah, you're running away from these horrible people, and then all of a sudden you're gonna fall in love with one of them. It's just there's the whole group in front of Himeji Castle, and then they're at Ryoanji. Not yet, but I've seen Doug Walker from now. Okay. Well, I mean, it's a solid film. I mean, I suggest watching it, especially if you like those kind of post-apocalyptic movies. Like I said, the action scenes are great in this movie. They're really great. The story is just kind of weak. So, but, yeah, well, there we go. I don't know what happened to my OneNote. It disappeared. Let me move some things around. Shoot. Well, anyways, I know I was going to talk about cannibal movies, so we're going to be moving on into the cannibal movies because last year, or yeah, I guess last year for the 31 Nights of Halloween Horror, I reviewed the movie The Green Inferno, which is kind of a love letter to the whole cannibal genre. And I don't know, a lot of people outside of the horror movie community might not know about this, but like cannibal movies were kind of big like in the 70s. I mean, we had, Cannibal Holocaust, we had the Cannibal Ferox. In a way, Zombie Holocaust was kind of in the cannibal vein. They had, there was a couple other ones. I think it was like the Cannibal God, or Sacrifice to the Cannibal. There was like a bunch of them, Eaten Alive, and it just seems like we've had a resurgence in zombie movies because they were big in the 70s and then kind of went away during most of the 80s and then kind of hit back towards the 2000s. And I'm just waiting for that kind of cannibal renaissance, because I mean a lot of people think, well, you're just going into the jungle and you're finding cannibals, but you can do cannibal even different ways. There was a movie in the 90s called Ravenous, which I can't remember who starred in that one. I've got it in my collection, but it was about kind of like the 1800s in America, and they were at a kind of out-of-the-way military post. And I think Ethan Hawke is in it now that I think about it. But anyways, like the main villain is a cannibal, and apparently when you eat people, you gain power and stuff like that. And so like the main villain kind of is obsessed with gaining power, and Ethan Hawke's, I think it's Ethan Hawke's. Anyways, like the main protagonist is a guy who was kind of a soldier, but kind of a coward. And he accidentally drank blood of the dead, and it allowed him to live through a certain part of. I know it's been a long time, but it was a very interesting take on the cannibal genre, and I think that we can get like a really good cannibal movie coming out. I mean, the Green Inferno was a fun, interesting movie that they kind of set up like a sequel for, but I guess it probably just didn't do well enough. And I just like the idea, like, because it's like zombies, except it's more realistic. And the whole thing about being, trapped, deserted, alone in this area where you really, even if you could escape, you can't escape because you gotta go like thousands of miles just to get to civilization. And there's just all kinds of like interesting things I think you can do with it, and you can make it really gory and nasty. You can just have a fun gory, nasty flick. But I don't know. It's like anyone on the stream seen any cannibal movies? Think about cannibal movies. Excited about them? Don't really care. I mean, it's okay if you don't. I mean, it's not everybody's cup of tea. But I don't know. It's just because it's like you get that sort of battle between the technology society versus the primitive society. So I don't know. It's one of those interesting toss-up type things. So cannibal movies, man, I could make a cannibal movie. Plus, I'd have to get into some sort of jungle area or urban cannibal. Like the movie Parents. That was another movie about cannibals. That was kind of like a black comedy. But yeah, I don't know. I would really like to see some more cannibal movies out there. So there we go. We got through cannibal movies. We got through Get Out. I guess we'll come back to Get Out now. And for anyone who's watching this who don't like spoilers, because I want to come back to because there's an interesting thing that I thought of when I was watching this movie. Actually, not when I watched, but after I got through with it. Switching gears so very unprofessionally of me. So spoiler for anyone who cares, stop watching. Please don't stop watching. No, anyways. So basically the whole thing on this movie is that they're kidnapping black people and they're doing surgery on them to implant the brains of, I guess you would say, for the most part, elderly, rich white people. So they're basically taking over the bodies of the black men. And women. Women were also involved in that too. And it raised an interesting question because like the whole back thing, the background of this, is supposedly like these people are such huge racists, and if they're racist, they hate black people. They think of them as inferior and stuff like that. It raises an interesting question: is like, but are they actually racist? Because I mean, really, if they think about if it's like being a black person is so bad and they're so inferior and they're so looked down upon, why would they desire to be? I mean, they want to basically just be this black person now. They want to take over their body. I mean, like for instance, if it was just about staying young forever, why wouldn't they just choose anybody who's young and healthy and things like that? Instead, they go after black people and like certain ones. Like there was this one who was a Olympic or aspiring Olympic athlete, and he was a runner, and so he got an athletic black person's body, so he can run and sprint. And it was just kind of interesting. Like if you have like these kind of like hatred or sort of thoughts of racist thoughts toward black people, then why would it be desirous of them to actually just basically become black people? Because I would think in this situation, they're rich people, and I don't think they're just going to sit at home all day. They're going to go out, they're going to travel, they're going to do what they did, they're going to try to live their life the way there was. Like there was an old guy who can't golf anymore, and so he wanted to go back out golfing. And it also this like there's all these stories like outside of the movie, how like a lot of like certain golf clubs and whatnot are kind of racist toward black people, and it just seems like, well, how is that advantageous of them getting a black body if they want to go golfing? If there's such this heavy amount of racism going on. So I don't know. It raises an interesting question. I don't know if they did this, if this was on purpose, if this was intentional, or this was just an unintended, situation, and they weren't even just thinking about that when they were just making the movie. But it does create an interesting question, because in a way they're not racist because they desire to be black. And in a way, I guess you could say, if anything, they believe more in black superiority than anything, because they're preferring black people for what they want. Like, there's this guy who's blind, and the main character, he is a photographer, and this blind guy wants him because he wants his eyes, because he wants his photographer's eyes, which is kind of strange, because I don't think it's just your physical eyes that makes you a good photographer. It's a whole bunch of other things going on. But it's just really strange. It's like, given all this other stuff, and I mean, maybe it's a situation where they think like these black people just will never be missed. I don't know if that was their idea, but it's just an interesting thing to think about. And oh my God, I'm getting a phone call. Hello. Well, I'm streaming right now. What's going on? This is oh my gosh. Oh wow. Oh wow, this is crazy. Okay. All right. Yeah. That's all right. Yeah. Bye. Holy crap. Oh my God. There's like an emergency going on. So I'm gonna have to cut it short after like 20 minutes, man. Oh, that's what happened when you're live and you have family that lives across the street, and emergencies happen. Oh my God, that's the Seppuku Dory, or that whatever. That's that's the den of suicides. Oh gee, see, I could just talk about the stuff going on there, but anyways, I thought a very interesting situation. That thought about you know what's going on kind of underneath the surface of the movie Get Out. But shoot, I am going to take a quick break, and I will be back in hopefully less than 10 to 15 minutes. Sorry about this. Oh my God, stuff like this happening. So I am going to take a quick break, and I will see you. Yeah, I know. It's like I can't do anything. My God, every freaking time. Anyways, so I will be back, and I'll talk to you shortly, everybody. Let's get back to there.